this time we have been living in the home of another. Give us a place to live in." The king said, "In that case, look. This appears to be jungle. Clear it off and build a house," and he showed him the site of the home of a former Sethi. Within only a few days he had a house built on that site. And performing the ceremony of entering the house and the ceremony of his investiture of rank, all in one, he gave alms for 7 days to the order with the Buddha at the head. Afterwards the banker of Rajagaha asked for the daughter of Punna in marriage for his son. He said, "I will not give her." "Do not act thus," said the banker, "you got your luck at the very time you were living with us. Give your daughter to my daughter cannot live without the 3 jewels. Faith in Buddha, Dhamma, Path and Sangha the order. Because of this I just will not give my daughter to him." Then many men of rank entreated him, "Do not break off your friendship with this man. Give him your daughter." He complied with their entreaty and gave away his daughter at the time of the full moon in the month of Asa. She went to the home of her husband. From the time of her going she was not allowed to go near monk or nun, to give alms or to listen to Dhamma. When 2.5 months had thus passed she asked the servants who attended her, "How much of the rainy season is left now?" "Half a month, my lady," they said. She sent a message to her father. "Why have they cast me into such a prison? It would have been better for you to have branded me and declared me a servant of others than to have given me into such a family of unbelievers. From the time that I came here I have not been allowed to do even a single act of merit, even so much as catching sight of a monk." Now her father, after he had expressed his sorrow, saying, "Unhappy, alas, is my daughter," had 15,000 kahapanas delivered to her and sent a message. "In this city there is a courtesan, Sirima by name. Daily she accepts 1,000. Have her brought to you by means of this money, give her over to your husband, and you yourself perform your acts of merit as you please." Uttara did so, and when her husband saw Sirima and said, "What's this?" she replied, "Husband, for this half-month let this a companion of mine look after you, but for this half-month I want to do nothing but give alms and listen to Dhamma." He looked at that beautiful woman with aroused desire agreed, saying very well. Uttara for her part, sent an invitation to the order with the Buddha at the head, saying, "Reverend Sir, for this half-month go nowhere else, but receive alms here only," and when she had obtained the teacher's consent she said, "From now up to the Pavana Great Invitation Ceremony after rain's retreat, I shall be able to wait upon the teacher and to hear Dhamma." And with heart content because of that she went about arranging everything that was to be done in the kitchen, saying, "Cook the gruel this way, cook the cakes thus." Now her husband, thinking, "Tomorrow will be the Pavana," stood at the window looking into the kitchen and wondered, now what that silly woman busy doing? He saw she was moving about wet with sweat. Sprinkled over with ashes, smeared with charcoal and soot from all her preparations, and said, "The silly woman does not enjoy luxury and comfort in a place like this. She goes about with a happy heart merely because of her wish to minister to shaven-headed monks," and he laughed and went away. As he went away, Sirima was standing near him and said to herself, "Now what did he see to make him laugh?" And looking out by the same window she saw Uttara and thought, he looked at her and laughed. There must be intimacy between him and her. Now the story goes that, although this woman had been for half a month an outsider in this house, yet, since she was enjoying its luxury and comfort, she was unaware of her status as an outsider and had the notion, "I am the mistress of the house." She settled her malice upon Uttara and saying to herself, "I will make trouble for her," descended from the terrace, entered the kitchen, and at the place where they were cooking the cakes, took some boiling hot ghee with ladle and went toward Uttara. Uttara saw her coming and thought, "My companion has done me a favor. The circle of the earth is too narrow, the world of Brahma is too low, but the virtue of my companion is great because by her help I have become able to give alms and to listen to Dhamma. If I am angry with her, let this ghee burn me, if not, let it not burn me. The ghee, although poured on the top of her head, was like cold water because of her being suffused with loving kindness. Then when Uttara's servant women saw Sirima coming after she had filled another ladle again and was thinking, will this be cold? They threatened her, ah, you wicked woman! How dare you pour boiling oil on the head of our mistress? And attacking from wherever they were in the kitchen, they struck her with hands and feet and threw her to the ground. Though Uttara tried to prevent them, she could not stop them. Then she stood over Sirima, held off all the servant women, and said reproachfully to Sirima, why have you done such a grievous deed? Then she bathed her with warm water and anointed her head with oil 100 times refined. At that moment Sirima realized the fact that she was an outsider, and thought, I have done a grievous deed in scattering boiling water on her head because of a mere smile on the part of her husband. Without as much as ordering her serving women, saying, hold her, she even held them off when they were hurting me and did for me just what should have been done. If I do not ask her forgiveness, my head may split into 7 pieces. She fell down at Uttara's feet and said, Lady, forgive me. I am a daughter whose father is living. If my father forgives I will forgive, said Uttara. Sirima, so be it, lady, I shall beg forgiveness from your father to Punna the banker. Uttara, Punna is my father who has begotten me in the cycle, but if my father who has begotten me in the cycle that does not turn forgives you, I will forgive you. Sirima, then who is your father in the cycle that does not turn? Uttara, the Holy Enlightened. Sirima, I am not acquainted with him. What shall I do? Uttara, the teacher will come here tomorrow with his order of monks. Bring whatever offerings you can obtain and come here and ask his forgiveness. Very well, lady, said Sirima. And she rose and went to her own home. Gave orders to 500 women attendants, prepared many sorts of hard and soft food. And on the next day, taking the offering of hospitality, she went to Uttara's house and waited, not daring to put anything into the bowls of the order of monks with the Buddha at the head. Uttara herself took everything and arranged it. But Sirima with her retinue, at the completion of the meal fell at the teacher's feet. Then the teacher asked her, what is your fault? Sirima, sir, yesterday I did thus and sir, but my companion held back her serving women who were hurting me. She did me a kindness instead. I realized her virtue, I asked her pardon, but she said to me that when I had your forgiveness then, I will forgive. Buddha, is it as she says, Uttara? Yes, Reverend sir. The companion poured boiling oil on my head. Buddha, then what did you think? Uttara, I thought, the circle of the earth is too narrow, the world of Brahma is too low, but the virtue of the companion is great, because by her help I am able to give alms and listen to Dhamma. If I am angry with her, let this ghee burn me. If not, let it not burn me. Thinking thus I suffused her with loving kindness. The teacher said, well done, Uttara. Thus should one conquer anger. And explaining this meaning, with non-anger should one conquer him who is angry. By not being abusive him who abuses, by not reviling who reviles, by giving what one possesses him who is deeply avaricious, and with truthful speech a speaker of falsehood, he uttered the verse. With non-anger shall one conquer anger. With good shall one conquer evil. With generosity shall one conquer the avaricious. And with truth the speaker of untruth. When he had spoken this verse, at the end of the verse he talked about the 4 truths. At the conclusion of the truths Uttara was established in the fruit of once returner. And her husband and father-in-law and mother-in-law realized the fruit of stream entry. Sotapanna, first stage of spiritual awakening. Sirima, took with her retinue of 500 courtesans, was a stream entrant. Sotapanna, first stage of spiritual awakening. After Uttara had died she arose in the 33. And the venerable elder monk Maha Magallana, traveling about on a Deva tour as described above, saw Uttara, the Deva maid, and put the question to her with the verses that begin, you who stand with surpassing beauty. You who stand with surpassing beauty, Devata, are making all the quarters shining like the healing star. Because of what is your beauty such? Because of what do you prosper here, and there arise whatever are those delights that are dear to your heart? I ask you, Devi of great majesty, what merit did you perform when you were born a human being? Because of what is your brilliant majesty, thus, and your beauty illumines all the quarters. That Devata, delighted at being questioned by Moggallana, when asked the question explained of what deed this was the result. Envy and meanness and stinginess were never mine while was living in a house without anger, obedient to my husband, always diligent on the observance days. Uposatha, fortnightly fasting and confession. On the 14th, 15th and 8th of the bright fortnight, and a special day of the fortnight well connected with the eightfold. I observed the observance. Uposatha, fortnightly fasting and confession. Always self-controlled by the practice of morality. And in the mansion restrained and generous I dwell. Refraining from killing of creatures, and restrained from lying speech, from theft and uncelibacy and the drinking of liquor far removed. Delighting in the 5 moral rules of training, proficient in the Aryan truths, I was a lay follower of Gautama, one with vision, widely famed. I, with my own morality and for fame, famous, experience my own merit. Happy am I, and healthy. Because of this is my beauty such, because of this do I prosper her, and there arise whatever are those delights that are dear to my heart. I make known to you, monk of great majesty, what I did when I was born a human being. Because of this is my brilliant majesty thus and my beauty illumines all the quarters. And, revered sir, on my behalf, will you pay homage with your head at the Lord's feet, saying, the lay woman follower named Uttara pays homage with her head at the Lord's feet? Indeed, this would not be surprising. Revered sir, that the Lord were to declare for me one of the fruits of monk's life. The Lord did declare for her the benefit of once return. Vimanavathu. Vimanavathu. Sirima's mansion. The Bhagavar was dwelling at Rajagaha, at the squirrel's feeding place in Bamboo Grove. And at that time Sirima, the courtesan mentioned above in the preceding story, had abandoned her impure profession because of her attainment of the fruit of stream entry. Sotapanna, first stage of spiritual awakening. And had begun to give alms daily to 8 members of the order chosen by ticket. From the beginning, 8 monks came daily to her house, saying such things, as, have some ghee, have some milk, she would fill their bowls. The amount one person got was enough for 3 or 4. Every day food worth 16 kahapanas was given as alms. Now one day a monk had enjoyed the meal for 8 at her house, and went to a monastery 3 yojanas away. Now, that evening, as he was sitting in attendance upon the elders, they asked him, friend, where did you get food from just before you came here? Monk, I partook of the meal for 8 from Sirima. Elders, did Sirima give food that she had made appetizing? Monk, I simply cannot describe her meal. She gave food that she had made most sumptuous. What one alone got was enough for 3 or 4. But even more excellent than the alms she gave was her appearance, for she has beauty of such and such a sort. And he described her charms. Now when one of the monks had heard the account of her charms, although he had not seen her, by merely hearing about her he fell in love, and thinking to himself, I want to go and see her, he spoke of the number of rain residences spent by him, and questioned a monk about his standing in the order. When he heard him say, tomorrow, friend, as you are the senior most elder, you will be able to receive a meal for 8. Taking bowl and robe that very moment, and setting out at dawn, he entered that ticket room, and being the senior most elder received a meal for 8 in Sirima's house. But at the very moment when the monk who had dined the day before had gone away, a disease arose in Sirima's body. So she took off her ornaments and lay down. Then her serving women, seeing that the monks had come to receive the meal for 8, told her. Unable to take the bowls with her own hand or invite the monks to be seated, she gave orders to her serving